It's a strange thing that with so many people purchasing a property here in the area as a holiday home, that it's almost impossible to find a property to rent. So in this week's episode of 2 Minute Tuesday, we're going to take a look at why people who are purchasing property choose not to rent the actual property itself. So welcome to this week's episode of 2 Minute Tuesday with Hondon Valley Homes. Okay, so let's start by talking about the two main different kinds of holiday rental. We've got short term, which is sort of under a week or maybe 2 weeks, and we've got long term, which is where a client would maybe rent your property for 6 months or 12 months. So starting with the long term rental, the reason a lot of people choose this is that it gives you more sort of stability when it comes to the income coming into the property. So if you're renting a property for, let's say, €1,000 a month over a 12-month period, you know exactly what is coming in each month of the year. The tenants, because they're living in the property for a longer period of time, hopefully will take more care of the property. It's going to be their home whilst they're there. And so you have security of income, you have security that you have one set of clients that you've vetted before they move into the property, and it's the sort of the safe bet when it comes to renting your property. So let's now talk about short-term rentals. Now, these are periods of a week or 2 weeks, or even shorter periods, long weekends, things like that. Now, short-term rentals are going to be an awful lot more lucrative when it comes to the income, but it's not going to be as consistent because you're dealing with seasonal fluctuations in price, and there are lots of other things that you need to sort of take into account when you're doing it. There's going to be more income per day or per night for the property, but you have to factor in things that you don't on a long-term rental, such as cleaning and changeovers and key holding, things like that. So now we've discussed the two main types of rental. What are the sort of the main reasons that people choose not to rent their property out? Now, the first one, and for those of you who are used to watching 2 Minute Tuesday will know a fair proportion of videos we do are about taxes, and that's one of the considerations that people have when they're renting their property out. Whether you rent your property long term or short term, if you're declaring the income that you derive from the rental of the property, then it is subject to tax. And so tax is basically treated as an income, and you will be taxed on it when you declare it. It's quite easy to do. Most people will use the services of their local lawyer or a local HESTOR or accountant. You can do it yourself if you're familiar with declaring taxes in a foreign language, but if not, then use the services of a professional person in order to do that. Okay, one of the other reasons that people tend not to rent their property out is because they've worked hard for the money to buy the property, and if you rent it, there's going to be a degree of wear and tear on the property that's not going to be from your use. So you're going to have people running your brand new dishwasher and washing machine and things like that, and putting wear on them, and it may be even a machine that you've not even used yourself. So a lot of people like to have the property, furnish it with their furniture, and don't particularly want other people sleeping in the beds, mattresses, using the bedding, and things like that. So people are if they're fortunate enough to be able to afford the property and not need the property to finance itself, then people will generally keep it that way and then avoid excess wear and tear. Because let's face it, somebody renting your property for a week or 2 weeks isn't going to look after it to the same standard as perhaps you are. Maybe they're out by the pool sunbathing and their phone rings. They might want to run inside, go and sit on the sofa and take the phone call. And maybe if they've got suntan lotion on, things like that, it's not great for the material. Whereas if it was your own property and it was happening to you, you wouldn't make that mistake. Okay, so one of the next things, and this is quite a commonly asked question, especially when people are in sort of looking to purchase a property, is they ask, does a property come with a tourism license? Now, unless a property has been rented before and used for tourism purposes, then it won't come with a tourism license. Most people, if they're selling a property, it'll be their own home that they're selling, or it'll be a holiday home that they don't rent out. So it would be the responsibility of the new owner in order to obtain a tourism license. Now, it may not be as simple as you could hope it to be. If you have an apartment, for example, and in that apartment block they have a rule that it is only for residential living and not tourism purposes, then you won't be able to get a tourism license in order to rent the property out. And these licenses, they can come with various restrictions such as occupancy limits. Certain safety standards will obviously have to be adhered to with regards to fire doors, fire extinguishers, things like that. And there could also be some zoning restrictions. Now, if, for example, you go on to something like Airbnb, you'll see that lots of properties in this particular region have VT on them and then a number. And that's the Valencia Tourism License number. And you would need one of those if you were going to actively market your property to show that the property is in compliance with all of the requirements in order to rent the property out. It is possible to get the tourism license. You may find that it's better to do it through a professional who is efficient at applying for these sorts of things. Most lawyers will just do the conveyancing of a property, and tourism licenses may be a little bit specialist for them, but there are a quick Google search and you'll find lots of lawyers or hestors that will undertake this for you. Okay, so next up we've got companies that will handle the rental for you. Now, maybe more for short term rather than long term, but if you are renting your property out and you don't live here, then you're going to have to pay the services of somebody to run the property for you. So they will handle the advertising and the marketing of the property. They will hold keys. They will do changeovers. They will organise the cleaning of the property and the general day-to-day running of your little mini rental business. However, this will come at a cost. And a quick Google as part of the research of this video, we found companies charging 30, 40, even higher as a percentage, so 30 or 40% of your rental price will go as a management fee for the rental company. So this is something that you need to bear in mind. So if you're not here and not able to, hold the keys for clients who are arriving late because the plane's been delayed, it's going to cost you to do it. So it's something else that you need to budget for if you were thinking of renting. So the next thing we're going to look at is rental law. Now, Spain is renowned for its laws protecting tenants against evil landlords. And basically, these laws are designed to protect people in sort of lower income and social housing against evil landlords who put up rentals, who evict people if they're a couple of days late with their rental payments. However, this same law will also affect you as a potential landlord renting your property here in Spain. So it's very important that you make yourself aware of the restrictions with regards to renting, the non-payment of rent and things like this, and the responsibilities of the landlord and their tenant. And if you do rent it, it's important to have a legal, watertight contract, preferably written by your lawyer, or if you have a rental agency, they will do it for you. But again, make sure that it offers you as a landlord maximum protection afforded by law, because the tenant will receive it in any case. And finally, I touched on it a little bit earlier, but I think an awful lot of the people that we sell properties to are in a fortunate position that if they're buying their property as a holiday home, they don't need to rent the property out. So they're buying the property with savings or inheritance or policies that have matured and things like that. And that whilst you can afford to have a property and not rent it out, then that's the perfect scenario. You're not having people covered in sun cream sat on your sofa, as the example I've given before, and it's your house. And when you come to it, it's your bed. It's people like the peace of mind of knowing that it's their property, and it's really only used by maybe family and close friends, things like that. So that's probably one of the biggest reasons that people choose not to rent their property out. And that really is that for this week's episode. If you have any questions, my details should be on the screen at the moment, so please feel free to drop me a line. If you have any questions about buying property in the area, or you're looking to sell your property in and around the Hunt Valley, then please feel free to drop me a line and let me know. We're more than pleased to help you out. There'll be another episode along in a couple of weeks' time. So thank you for your time today, and I'll speak to you very shortly. Till then, adios.